Paint is in the building.
Hey, I'm Jet with Mclogan Supplies. Today we're going to be setting up Graphtec's Silhouette Cameo from start to finish, including opening the box, setting it up with the computer, and installing our software. Now, whether you're a small business just starting up or you're just looking to do personal projects, this is probably the desktop cutter plotter for you. You can cut all types of thermal transfers, capillary films for silk screening, or even adhesive back vinyls for signs and banners, amongst plenty of other materials, cardstock and others for scrapbooking and hobbies. Now, the first thing we're going to do is open this box, and right away we're going to see they've supplied us with a power supply and a bag containing our blade adjustment guide, USB cable, software, instruction manual, and $10 gift card good at Silhouette's online store where you can buy designs and shapes mostly for 99 cents. Next, we'll remove the tray. First thing we're going to see is Cameo has supplied us with a 12x12 cutting mat. Now this is used for through cutting of cardstocks or getting that professional die cut look after doing vinyl stickers. Let's remove the Cameo. Right when you pull it out, you're going to have two foam ends. Let's go ahead and remove those. Remove the tape to allow for unpacking from its protective sleeving. Remove the two front pieces of tape. Open the lid. And there's a piece of tape here which we'll remove. Make sure you remove this before we start using the Cameo. Now after unpacking the Cameo, let's go ahead and hook its power up. We have two ports, one for power, one for your USB. We also have a slot for your SD drive. We'll get to that later. Now, after plugging your power in, you want to put it on a good space in your desk. Remember, this accepts 12-inch material up to 10 feet in length, so you want to have room in front and back of the machine. Now let's hold off on plugging in the USB cable until we install the Cameo software. Alright, let's go ahead and remove the provided software from the bag, called the Silhouette Studio. Now after putting the software in your CD, ROM, or Blu-ray drive on either a PC or Mac, you'll be prompted with a few options. We're using a PC today, so we're going to run Setup. This will bring up an install wizard, giving us simple steps to install the software, ensuring a proper installation. Now this is what the Silhouette Studio Setup wizard looks like. First question is just going to click some general info. We'll simply click the Next button. Click Next again after you're sure you have the correct install route. It'll generally give you a recommended one. Let's go with that. Last, click Install. On a PC, you'll be requested permission. Click Yes. And from here on, the install will take care of itself. After properly installing your software, let's go ahead and plug that USB cable in. Now you have two ends, one square and one rectangle. Plug the square end into your Cameo and the rectangle end in the back of your PC or Mac. Only step next to do your first job is to open the front lid, turn this blue knob counterclockwise until it's in the locked position on the left. Take your blade, press it firmly into the holder, and turn the knob back to the right. Close the lid and you're ready to go. Now let's go ahead and try our first cut on the Silhouette Cameo. Start by turning the power on. You'll see an LCD screen illuminate, and you'll hear a few sounds. That's just the servos aligning the cutting head. Lift the lid, and in this case we're going to be using Mclogan's Revolution heat transfer material. In this case there's a protective coating, which if you can find a corner, go ahead and peel that off. You're now presented with a dull side and a smooth side. load it with the dull side up. You have two white rollers in the Cameo. This is what positions the material and allows the computer to know where the material is. Make sure that the blue lever is lifted and insert your material, making sure it lines up with the outsides of either one of these rollers. Press the enter button and it'll load it in there for you. We're ready to cut, but first we want to try to do a test cut. Make sure our settings are correct on our knife depth and speeds. Now before cutting our first project, we want to make sure we have all of our settings correct for the material we are using. We do this by going to the icon in the upper right hand corner. It looks kind of like a pen, and by simply holding your mouse cursor over it, it will highlight saying Silhouette Cut Settings. Go ahead and click that button once. A menu will appear on the right hand side, giving you many options. Paper, which you can choose pre-desired options or make your own settings. Speed, which determines the speed of which the material is cut. And thickness, referring to the thickness of the material. Depending on the options chosen, it will suggest a cut depth for you on the knife. Use that gray adjustment tool we talked about earlier to set the proper depth. We'll go ahead and try test cut with the default settings. After doing our test cut using our Silhouette Cameo software, we want to make sure that the cut was successful. Lift the lid, press the enter button to unload the material. We're using a Mclogan weeding tool, which you can pick up at any Mclogan Supply store or Mclogan.com. You'll draw a small box in the upper corner and a small triangle. You want to remove the box, leaving the triangle. If the machine does this, you have a successful cut, and we're ready to move on. Now, if your cut wasn't successful, there's a few things to look at. Again, cut and speed settings for the program itself, or the knife adjustment. To adjust the knife, turn the blue knob counterclockwise, pull the knife out, and you will see a small red mark coordinating to a number on the knife holder. Silhouette has provided you with two adjustment knobs. One came with the pouch, and one that is always on the plotter. To adjust it, simply slide it in, turn it to the notch you need. We're going to adjust to 3, remove it, and place it back in the holder. Again, always be sure that the knife holder is all the way in. Lock it back to the position in the right, and we can move forward. Let's go ahead and cut our first project. Let's go to File, Open. In this case, we have it saved to our desktop. We're going to select All Files. This will allow you to see all files that Silhouette Studio can work with. We're going to be cutting our logo today, Mclogan.com. It'll bring it in at the size it's saved at, but let's go ahead and make an adjustment first. Go to Page, which is the icon on the right, and we're going to go to Custom Settings here. It already has a default cut of 12 inches by 12 inches. Today we're using the material 12 inches by 19 inches. You can see how that changes how it works. Now you can clearly see it's not fitting on our artboard, so let's go ahead and scale that down. You can grab the corner and bring it down in size until you are happy with it. You'll see on the left and the bottom the actual measurements of what you're cutting. After you're happy with that, go to the pen tool that we were talking about earlier. Again, it says Silhouette Cut Settings, and bring it on screen. To the left, you'll see the white rollers we were talking about, and you can kind of tell where the material is going to be falling in between those. As long as we're in between those two, we're okay. Next, go to Send to Silhouette, and it's going to give you a few things to check over to make sure everything is correct, including Silhouette display is set to load media, which it is on the Silhouette, and the speed and thickness of your material. Again, this was set to a default of 10 and 10. Load the media into the Silhouette and press Cut Page. We're happy with the settings, so go ahead and press Cut Page. After your job is done cutting, it'll feed the material back out to the front. Simply press the Enter button to unload it, pull the material out, and you're ready to start weeding it. You've completed your first successful cut with the Silhouette Cameo. Today we're doing thermal transfer material to make a t-shirt. Whenever you're doing thermal transfers, you want to reverse or mirror the image. That way when it's pressed onto the garment, it reads in the correct way. To do this, it's as simple as clicking on the icon towards the top right that looks like a few circles laid over each other, creating a full circle. Click on this, and you have plenty of options, including duplicate, mirror, or rotate. We're going to be mirroring this. You can mirror either left, right, above, or below. Today we'll mirror it above. It simply mirrors your image, reversing it, and now we can delete the original image, bring this back onto our paper, and again go to our cut plot option. We see that it clearly fits in our rollers, so we're ready to cut. Click the Send a Silhouette button. Go over the 5 steps, ensuring that you're ready for a successful cut, including the rollers are set to 12 inches, the display says to load media, current settings are what we had with a successful test cut, load the media into the silhouette, and cut page. I'm happy with all of our options, so we'll press cut page. So after removing all the excess material away using a Mclogan's weeding tool, we see our design in a mirrored image. This is exactly what we plan to do for thermal transfer to a t-shirt. Flip it over and you can see our final design. Next we're going to move over to actually applying this to a t-shirt using one of the heat presses that we also sell on our website. Now we're ready to apply our graphic to our garment. Simply place it where you want it. Make sure you have it exactly where you want it because you only get one chance at this. That looks pretty good to me. We're also going to use a Teflon sheet in between the heat and the garment to protect the garment and the transfer material. Just make sure it covers it nicely. And today we're using Revolution materials, which requires 305 degrees for 8 to 10 seconds. Bring your press down, lock it in place, and your timer will tell you when to stop. Go ahead and lift it up, remove our Teflon sheet, pull off the backing, and it's easy as that. We have a completed garment ready to go.